Hey everyone, welcome to D20 Woodworking. I'm your host Jason, and today I will be ranking all 27 heroes that are currently available for Marvel Champions. Now, the way I'm breaking this down is through basically 5 different tiers. A character I play every single time, I enjoy playing most of the time, I enjoy playing sometimes, I'll do it if I have to, and I kind of actively avoid that character. So one of the caveats with this, I feel like, is to note that these are my personal favorite heroes. I'm not doing this by who I think is the strongest hero or the weakest hero or anything like that. It is simply based off of who I enjoy playing the most. And I enjoy playing them because they're either the most versatile, the most interesting, strength, you know, does well solo. As a primarily solo player, I'm going to look at these heroes as solo characters. The other thing I will mention that to note is I primarily do justice, then probably aggression, then leadership, and then protection. In that order are the aspects I enjoy playing the most, so that kind of affects how I, you know, play my heroes and maybe what heroes are good and what ones aren't. So, without further ado, let us jump into our tier ranking system. So the first one we are going to do is just straight in alphabetical order. As I showed you before, these are the different tiers. Let us first do Adam Warlock. So this is Adam right here. He has the Battle Mage ability, Guardian Mystic character, and his deck building is probably the most interesting one because you have to have equal number of cards from the 4 aspects. Now, here's the thing: I have only played Warlock maybe 5 or 6 times, right? I haven't played him a huge amount of times, so I don't think I can fully grade him completely yet. So as of doing this, I would say I'm gonna put him right in the middle. I enjoy him sometimes. I can't fully rank him yet. He's gonna be probably at the very tail end of that. I don't mind what I did when I played with him, but I didn't absolutely like love him or anything like that. So first one, Adam Warlock. Next up is going to be Ant-Man. Um, so I remember when Ant-Man first came out, he seemed kind of overly powerful. Everyone loved him. They loved the mechanic between the big and the small. And I still enjoy it. I still enjoy Ant-Man a lot. He works great in pretty much almost any aspect because of how versatile he is. My biggest gripe with him is that maybe he's a little too straightforward and powerful. That is not normally a negative thing for a lot of people when they do power rankings, but for me, it almost gets kind of boring. Um, Now, there are still some kinks to work out. He's not a perfect hero by any means, but he's pretty strong. He's pretty good. Does well leadership. His cards can really swing hard, so they're pretty aggressive. I'm definitely a fan of Ant-Man. I would put him right there at enjoy playing most of the time. Again, because he can play pretty much any aspect. Um, it's just he's almost a little too strong. I feel like his cards are a little too powerful, and that takes away some of the fun of it for me. So let us now get into the next one, which is Black Panther. So I'm gonna be honest. When I first played Black Panther, I didn't get it because I wasn't laying out the cards right, and I wasn't activating the cards. The Wakanda cards. I wasn't activating them correctly, so I didn't really understand why people love Black Panther so much. And it hasn't been until the last few months that I really kind of gotten into him. I've really enjoyed him as a character, enjoyed what he can do, enjoyed his cards. So I'm gonna be honest. Black Panther probably started off around here and has slowly been moving up. To the point that I put him at enjoy sometimes. I still need to play more of him to really understand him better. But we're gonna put him ahead of Adam, that's for sure. Um, he's realistically next year he's probably going to move up into this next section as I understand him better and better and move up in it. So next up we have Black Widow. Black Widow was a personal favorite right out the gate for the longest time. I really loved the design for Black Widow. I loved how she was done. I liked her preparation card skills and how they all worked. I wish preparation cards were kind of used more. It seems like there's a few of them that are in the Justice deck, especially um, that only pertain to her. There's really not anyone else, which isn't a bad thing, but I hope they do more with it. The thing with me now with Black Widow is that she only makes sense in justice for me now. Leadership, aggression, protection, Black Widow, sure, you can do it, but to me, it doesn't make as much sense. It's not something that I really kind of go out of my way to do. And because of that now, she's been going from a ranking, probably enjoying most of the playing time, to now sometimes. She's really starting to fall down, which is quite a shame. Like I said, I do enjoy her. I do enjoy everything about her, but she's slowly dropping down, getting less plays for more interesting characters. So next up, we have Captain America. And he was one of the first ones that everyone said you have to get. You have to get his cards. He's so good. And he is. He's insanely good. Leadership, justice, aggression, protection. He's good at everything he does, and it's enjoyable. But it's almost boring at this point. Again, this is another character where he's a little too straightforward for me. I enjoy what he does, but it's not becoming as exciting as it first was. And I played a lot of Captain America early on. So now I would kind of just play him if I had to. I feel like my build is always kind of the same with him, playing off his cards. And he's not that exciting. So Captain America slowly dropping in my book. Which brings us next to Captain Marvel. Now, her, on the other hand, yes, she's insanely powerful, but she could also play well so many different ways. And in the sense that not just the aspects, but I can change my deck with what I do with her. If I want to have a leadership deck that's more event based, I can do that. If I want to have an aggression deck that's more ally based, I feel like I can do a lot of that stuff. With Captain Marvel, she can swing really hard. Her deck is super unique and interesting. Excuse me. Makes her pretty exciting to play. I got bored with her for a little while, but she's really coming back, and it's a really character I enjoy. So she was one that would play every time. She's dropped down a little bit again. I think a lot of those early characters were a little too powerful, so I don't play her as much as I would. But I really enjoy her character. I enjoy her personal cards. Now they're doing more with aerial cards. I get kind of more excited for her. She's kind of climbing back up because of that. So the next one is probably going to be my most controversial one, and it's Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange is probably regarded as the most powerful character or hero in the game. And I don't know if he is. I really don't. I know this is going to be one of my more controversial statements in this. But here's the thing. I don't think Doctor Strange is super powerful. I think he's super straightforward. I think as long as you just run through his invocation deck, really doesn't matter what the rest of your cards are, to be completely honest. Leadership Strange is still the best Strange that there is, just so you can have blockers and let people, just soak up damage. But you can do that with aggression, justice, and protection now. There's so many allies out there for all of them that you can just keep having blockers soak up damage while he runs his invocation deck and eventually wins. He's just a very, very straightforward hero. And because of that, he's starting to get kind of boring, really. So he's actually a character I actively avoid. I just don't enjoy playing him anymore. He's just, I don't even know if too good is the right word, but he's too samey. He's too predictable. You do the same thing over and over and over. And honestly, it gets boring. It's just something that I don't really enjoy. And it's really just running through the same 5 cards. I think that's what really kills it for me is I'm playing just 5 cards over and over and over. And it gets boring. So Doctor Strange, I actively avoid playing. Next up is Drax. And now when Drax first came out, I was super pumped for Drax. I loved everything about him. I liked the idea of the vengeance counters. I thought that was cool. The protection cards he came with, I think is really cool. At first, he was one of my favorite heroes. He slowly dropped down a little bit. I feel like his counters are pretty good in the sense that, if you just take some damage, because it does have 14 life, if you take some damage, you can get him swinging pretty hard, and then you flip over and it heals him. And I like that mechanic. I think it's really interesting and unique. But it seems like I only really play him 2 ways now. And that is really just a protection deck that does the active avoid, right? Like you reduce the damage by 3 or whatever it is, or different things like that. So he's a fun protection deck, and protection isn't my strongest suit, so I do like experimenting with him. So he stays pretty high up for me. Stays pretty high up. I do enjoy playing most of the time. Captain Marvel is still, we're gonna drop her down actually. Ant-Man's still ahead. I still enjoy Ant-Man a lot. And Drax, I enjoy. I don't know where he's going to go. I want to see other cards that kind of complement him. I feel like there isn't a ton out there yet. But I hope moving forward there is. Next up, we have Gamora. Gamora, I love. So Gamora, I'm just gonna do it right now. Put her straight up there. Would play her every single time. I love the way that they built her deck of cards. I think it's super unique. When you first look through her cards, some of it seems kind of weak, and then when you realize, okay, if I play the 0 cost Thor card, it allows my attack to do even more. It goes up from 4 to 7, right? Same with attack. You can have a 0 cost attack card that does 1 damage. Now your thwart goes up higher. Now every time she plays an attack uh, event or a thwart event, she does the opposite thing as well. So it's kind of cool how they did her mechanics. I think it's super unique and interesting. And she's someone that, because of those mechanics, because it's something that's really different in the game. I feel like no other hero does this a lot. Um, I'm really enjoying her. I'm really, really, really enjoying her. On solo, I think she holds her own really good. I think she can do a lot of different things. There's very few villains that I feel like I have a super hard time with against her. And on the expert, it feels like I always have a fighting chance. I just need to tweak some things, but Gamora is a personal favorite for me. Next up, straight along is to Groot. Now, I like Groot. I like Groot a lot. For solo, he's not great because you have to keep flipping him to get the growth counters up. But once you do, he's so much fun. He is really fun to work when you get that going. Again, he is mainly a protection build, though. You have to basically do protection around him. Um, I don't know. I don't love that. Honestly, Groot is falling down to would play if I had to. I still pick Captain America over Groot. Um, but he's just solo. He's rough. He's really hard to do, and you feel kind of pigeonholed in protection. I've experimented with other aspects, and he doesn't seem to play that well in different aspects. So unfortunately, Groot is kind of fallen down, and I don't know if I'll ever actively avoid him, but I hope there's more out there for him in the future. All right, next up we have Hawkeye. So Hawkeye, I enjoy the mechanics with his bow, the how it works with exhausting and makes him a stronger attack. I think he's pretty cool. When he first came out, I spent more time on Spider Woman, right, in the Red Skull box than I did Hawkeye. So Hawkeye at first was probably a would play if I have to. And then he's now moving up to enjoy sometimes. I enjoy Black Widow more, but I still like Hawkeye. I think he's okay for what he is. Um, so he's not bad, but he's not a fantastic character. He seems very mediocre with a lot of his stuff. His kit is fine. I think the arrows are unique, but it doesn't seem to sync up well with anything else, or at least I can't get it to. All right, next one we have is Hulk. So here's the thing with Hulk. I tried. I tried really, really, really hard with Hulk because I kept looking at Hulk and I kept seeing 3 attack, 3 defense, 18 hit points. And I kept thinking, there is a way to make this work. And the problem with Hulk is that his special ability of Enraged is truly terrible. It's a hindrance to him. It does not help him. And because of that, he's not very good. He's just not very good. Now on multiplayer, you can make him work, obviously. If you have someone else thwarting, he does swing for a lot of damage. I think Justice Hulk might be the best Hulk. Then quickly, or not Justice, I'm sorry. Leadership Hulk might be the best Hulk. Just so you get blockers in there, kind of, fighting off everything. But man, he's tough. He's tough. I spent a lot of time this year trying to figure out Hulk. He was someone that I enjoyed sometimes because I enjoyed the challenge of it. Then it got to I would play him if I really had to, and now I actively avoid him. And he is lower than Doctor Strange. I will probably never touch Hulk again until they start coming out with more cards that help him along. Until they start doing that, I don't see a reason to play Hulk. He's too. He just can't be played well on pure solo. He can't. Next up is Iron Man, one of the original core heroes, and Iron Man's mechanics are super cool. I love this idea of the tech upgrades and increasing your hand size. And the thing is, when you're playing solo and you get him rolling with all of his upgrades, he's really good. He gets really, really good. It's really just a matter of can you hang out in the beginning, and this is when playing multiplayer really helps. With solo, It's really tough to get by. I can't really win with him on expert. I'll be completely honest. I don't think I ever have. On standard, it's pretty tough. And again, it's kind of just hanging on for a while until I get him built out. And once I get him built out, he starts doing some really cool things. I think there's a really interesting character there. But because of that, I can't get into him. So honestly, he's one I actively avoid. He's someone I will play more than Doctor Strange. Because I do see some of the new cards coming out, and I think there's some possibilities, some chances of things we could do with him, but I don't know. He just keeps dropping off the list. So next up is Miss Marvel, and she seemed like another hero that you had to flip a lot, right? She has 3 allies, or I'm sorry, 3 supports, not allies. 3 supports. All of them really help you on the other side, right? On her alter ego side. Seems like she wants to spend a lot of time there. Truth is, if you really build her out, you don't need to be flipping all the time. Now, you can do it, and in solo, there is a way to set up your hand through aggression or justice that works pretty darn well with her cards, with Embiggen and being able to play wiggle room and not get hit. There's a lot of cool and interesting things you could do. She was a character at first I thought you could not do much with, and she was someone I actively avoided. And then she's slowly been moving up to I enjoy playing her most of the time. Probably more so than Ant-Man. I think she's a super fun character. I think she's interesting. I hope they keep supporting her with more cards that come out. But yeah, I really like Miss Marvel, and I like her kit. I think she's built well. I think she's pretty well balanced. I think she's phenomenal multiplayer, and I think she's getting better and better in solo in each iteration. So I'm super excited with her. Next up, we have Nebula. Now, Nebula is another one of those heroes where I thought at first I wasn't going to like her a lot. I've only played her about 10 times. I haven't played her a ton. But when I first played her, I didn't fully understand her technique cards. I wasn't playing them as efficiently as I should. Now, to be honest, when you play her with another player, I think she's a lot better. I think she's a lot stronger to be able to build out technique cards, not have to worry about too many other things going on. I think she works really well in that aspect. Solo is a little bit rougher, but she is someone that now I want to spend more time playing solo. She was someone that I would play if I have to. She's moving up to enjoy sometimes. I'm going to say more so than Black Widow. I'm going to say she's moving up. I think she will continue to move up as I kind of understand her more and more and more and build her out more and more. But we'll get there slowly. But she, after watching her play better on 2-player, I thought she was pretty good. I look forward to messing around with her solo. Next up, we have Quicksilver. Now, Quicksilver is another one where he came out right around the same time as Scarlet Witch. And I'll be honest, I didn't play a ton of Quicksilver. I played more Scarlet Witch than anything else. And I like him. I like his build out ability. I like the whole mechanic of like readying over and over and over and over. And I think that's a really cool mechanic. It's just not something that I've probably messed around with too much, or messed around with as much as I really want to. So I'm going to put him as I enjoy him sometimes, right in the middle. Behind Nebula, I had Black Widow. Again, I think Quicksilver has a chance of moving up as I play with him more, hopefully. But we'll see. He's a character, again, I enjoy what he's all about, but I just need to play him more. I think he's good. I just need to play him more. All right, Rocket Raccoon. I think Rocket Raccoon's really cool. I think he's a really cool hero. I thought at first, when I first played him the very first time, that he was going to be terrible. And honestly, it really is just kind of working with the minions, right? Trying to make sure that they're being played out there, doing damage to them, knocking them out, drawing the extra cards, doing the whole flip over to tech upgrade to draw more cards. He has the ability to draw a ton of cards and do a ton of different things. He was a character that pretty early on I actively avoided, and now he's getting to, I would play if I have to. Probably a bit more than Captain America. I want to play him more to move him more up in my book. He's right there, but he still seems like a character that if there aren't a ton of minions out there, he's really hard to play with then. He really needs them. It's kind of like Thor, but to me, he's just a better Thor. So, spoiler alert on that. So next up, we have Scarlet Witch. I've already mentioned during the Quicksilver thing. not only do I think she's a super fun and interesting character, I think her mechanic of discarding being counter deck to count boost icons or do different things, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's one of the coolest things they did to, yeah, okay, discard these cards to pay for free, but guess what? You're gonna fly through that deck, and then um, the thwart or the threat on the main scheme is gonna go up by a lot. I think it's a really fascinating way to play the game. I think Scarlet Witch is phenomenal. She is someone I play every single time. I enjoy her in every single aspect. I think she works well in all of them. Um, there's very few things I don't think she can do. I think she can handle most villains on her own. Again, as a mystic, she's maybe a little too overpowered, which is one of the problems. But because her mechanic is so interesting and deciding on when you want to play things, I really enjoy playing her. And I play her all the time because I feel like I'm really controlling the game well without just it being overly easy. Next up, we have She-Hulk. She-Hulk, I need to play more of. I really do. I enjoy She-Hulk. She's obviously much better than regular Hulk, like much better. I haven't since Mad Titan Shadow. I haven't even picked her up, so she's someone that slowly has dropped down my list, and to the point that I enjoy her. Sometimes would play if I have to. She's in between the two. I don't know exactly where. For right now, we're gonna say I would play her if I had to, but I do want to try to play her a bit more to get her up there a little bit higher. Next up, we have Spectrum. So Spectrum's who I went through the whole Mad Titan Shadow campaign with, and I love Spectrum. I think she's phenomenal. I think the 3-card system of the energy forms is really, really cool. I think it's super unique. It lets you play her different ways. It makes her really good with most aspects. The way that each card works with flipping them, so you have to kind of juggle them back and forth. She is someone I enjoy playing most of the time. I'm going to put her right below Ant-Man. Oops, ahead of Drax. I think she's fantastic. I love her. Really cool character, fun to play with. So that is Spectrum. So next up we have Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man. I really, really, really like Spider-Man. In the Marvel Universe, I've always really enjoyed Spider-Man. I've enjoyed Spider-Man's comics. But his strongest strength is protection. You kind of have to play him in protection. And because of that, I've been playing him less and less and less. To the point that he's sadly down to would play if I have to. If I want to play a good protection deck, I would take him out every now and again and play with him, but that's about it. He's someone I don't play with that often because he feels so limited to me in that sense. Now, maybe I need to try more aspects with him and see what he can do. But every single time I pull him out and start thinking about building a deck, I naturally just go toward protection. And because protection is my least played aspect, he just doesn't get played as much as he really should. So I like Spider-Man a lot. I think 2022 is going to be the year where I start playing more protection to try to get myself out of that hump and get Spider-Man and some of these other heroes up there higher who might be better with protection. Then we have Spider-Woman, who I think is fantastic in the sense of how she can work with her different aspect cards, right? So you're allowed 2 different aspects, equal amounts. You play, what is it, events, right? Interrupt when you play no, just an aspect card. She gets +1/+1/+1. Now I think it would have been cooler if she got a +1/+1/+1 in the matching aspect. I think that'd been a cool design and maybe figure out something for justice. That might have been the problem. I like the idea. It kind of makes her a little not too powerful, but it makes her pretty powerful and pretty strong. But because of that, it allows her a lot of balance. It's cool to try to figure out what order to play cards and how to use her effectively. And she is someone I enjoy sometimes. Probably near the top of the list. She's way up there, so someone I definitely enjoy. The next up is Starlord. I don't know how I fully feel about Starlord. I'll be completely honest. He is. I love baseball. I love everything about baseball, and to me, he is in the olden days the Jim Thome of baseball players, right? The Chris Davis of baseball players. When he goes up the plate, he's probably not going to get solid hits, right? He's either going to crush the ball and hit the greatest home run you've ever seen. And I mean, you can do 30 some damage, one round, one turn. It's not even that hard to do, to be honest with him. He can do insane amounts of damage. But if you don't win, usually on those turns, you will lose the next turn. You're just going to lose. So it's this weird gambling game that you play. And I like the idea of it. I like the idea of the gambling game. I always feel like you get a lot of times tough will kind of mess you up. Um, as long as you have the guns out, you can knock them off, which is nice. I feel like there's always like small little things to trip you up. And as they're adding more and more into the game with, okay, the new standard decks, for example, you need to do, what is it? Double the things that confuse or stall, whatever it is. I feel like there's more and more that are hitting you against the luck aspect of what Starlord is, and making him harder and harder to play. Um, so I don't know. In order to really do him well, again, you have to set up a giant attack to hit well. I feel like I have to spend a lot of time confusing or stunning enemies to set up those things because you're going to be turning over a lot of bad cards, right? Especially if you have 3 face down. There's going to be a lot of bad stuff that happens that you really can't survive unless hopefully the enemy is stunned or confused. Um, so he's a tough one to really play and to do. So he was someone I originally actively avoided. He's probably up into I would play if I have to. I'd rather play Rocket. I'll be honest. I'd rather play She-Hulk. Star-Lord's kind of just hangs out there. Maybe I'll play with him more in the future. I don't know. He's really just a lead. He almost feels like he has to be leadership. Maybe aggression works. I'm not 100% sure. But he's not someone I enjoy playing a lot. Just because there is a sheer amount of luck. And like sometimes that is fun, right? Bringing out the deck is just, I want to see how much damage I can do this round. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not someone I pull out as often because of that. Because I want to really strategize and figure it out. So next up we have Thor. Now Thor, he's just not good solo. He's just not good solo. There's not. I mean, Thor and Hulk always get a bad rap, and really in the solo community, they really get knocked around pretty good. I was in the this year again. I tried playing a lot of Thor because, like Hulk, I thought I could get him to work. There's some cards out there now that have made Hulk, or I'm sorry, made Thor better. Made it more interesting. If you can save it for those aerial cards, I think there's some good stuff you can do there. I think it makes it interesting and better, but at the end of the day, he's still just not great for solo. And I feel like you need a perfect storm of things to happen for him to be really good. You need the right card draw. You need certain counter cards not to come out. Certain villains he just doesn't work well against. He's just not great for solo. So he's someone I actively avoid because of that. All right, next up we have Venom. Venom, when he first came out, I thought he was overpowered. I thought he was way too powerful for what he is. He was too good. And I still think he's really, really good. Really good. As I've played more expert, I've realized that there are some limitations. Some of his kit maybe isn't as strong as other characters. That's really because you're playing everything off those guns, right? So it's pretty stable in what you're doing. It stinks when tough comes out because that gets kind of hard to deal with. So you're playing with aggression or leadership, you can kind of do ping damage or piercing, something to knock things off. I love Venom. I enjoy playing with him most of the time. Not as much as Miss Marvel. I still think she's fantastic, but more so than Ant-Man. Venom is fantastic. I really enjoy that character. It's great stuff. So, all right, last two. So one, now the newest one to be added into our game is War Machine. So a lot of people really liked War Machine when it came out. They liked the 5 ammo counter system that you flip over and you spend these ammo counters. And I think it's neat. I think it's a neat idea. And in return, some of his cards, instead of costing 3 like they should, they cost 2, and there's only like one card that costs 3. Here's the thing though. I don't love it. I'll be completely honest. I don't love balancing out the ammo counters. It feels oddly tacked on, I guess. It feels, I don't know. It feels like it was an easy mechanic to put in there. Of just like, well, I'll put extra counters, right? Because we already have cards that have a bunch of counters on them. Like most upgrades and supports that you have counters on them. Well, what if our hero had counters on it? I don't know. I don't love the mechanic. I don't think it's fantastic. Um, I played a lot of him, and honestly, he's someone I play if I have to. and he's around where Starlord is. Um, I just don't love him. I don't think he's that great, but I think he can be fun maybe if I play more of him. No, I hope he moves up. I really do because I want to play more of him, but I don't love him right now. And last but not least is Wasp. So Wasp came out around the same exact time as Ant-Man, and I feel like she was the hero that a lot of people didn't pay attention to because Ant-Man was so powerful, right? He was so powerful. And I was always kind of drawn to Wasp. I to this day I'm still drawn to Wasp. The way she essentially works is the opposite of what you would think, right? So when she's small, she does mostly damage. When she's big, she does more of her thwarting or kind of defense stuff, which is really interesting. I think her deck is fantastic. I love her kit. I love everything about her. Honestly, she's my second favorite character in the entire game. I play her pretty much every single time. Um, I love her. I think she's a lot of fun to play overall. And yeah, I wish she didn't get overshadowed by Ant-Man. Maybe that's a part of the reason why I love her so much. But she's one that I keep coming to over and over and over again, keep playing, and I hope to more so in the future. So looking at this now all here, obviously it's a little more skewed to heroes I don't play as much because I just this top group I enjoy playing so much, and I will play them over and over and over again. I think my goal personally for 2022 is try to move the rest of these up, especially in enjoy sometimes and would play if I have to. I want to get Black Panther more plays. I feel like now that I grasp him, he can be better. Quicksilver, Nebula, Spider Woman are all people I enjoy and want to get more plays in. Spider Man, again, I think my goal is to play more protection because that is my weakest aspect by far. So Spider Man, I'm hoping to move up, especially with the Spider Box coming out. I think that's going to help bring out those cards even more and let me do more with Spider Man, hopefully. But yeah, so I'm super excited for that. So if you have made it this far, please in the comments let me know that you have, and let me know what you think of my list. Is it possibly skewed too much to characters that I just don't play because I played them so much that I'm kind of over them at this point? Or does it seem like a right balance? What are your thoughts on my list? Again, I didn't want to just do this based off of who I thought the strongest heroes were because that's pretty much argued about all the time. This is just who I get sheer enjoyment out of playing out of. And again, I plan to do this list next year, and I'm sure it's going to be much more different. So anyway, if you made this far, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. And then check out all my live streams. I live stream about 3 times a week, playing Marvel Champions, Lord of the Rings, and whatever else I feel like. Definitely hang out. Come see what it's all about. Come hang out with our group. Finally, we have a Discord. I'll put the link down below. Make sure you hang out on Discord. We talk about LCGs all the time. So anyway, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. Take care.